Having a fun conversation with Michael Wellington, a St. Louis native, a caddy that's been on the PGA Tour, the Champions Tour, great player in his own right. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin, but maybe most important to get to is Birdies for Bipolar, and it's something that you have been intimately involved with. You obviously have dealt with this. Let's get into it. How did this all start?
No, I appreciate that. I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder in February of 2001. Which is hard to believe. That was 24 years ago.
I can't believe that. I can't, yeah.
Yeah. I got diagnosed with it. I finished at Spring Hill College, and I moved to Florida to start playing professional golf, and my behavior had just become very erratic, grandiose. Was calling my parents saying, I think I have cancer, and I want to get season tickets to the Lakers so we can watch Kobe. Wasn't making any sense. So my parents came down to Fort Myers and they brought me to a doctor, and doctor pulls me into a room just like this. And he had a piece of paper, and just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And it had all the traits of a person that's bipolar on it. And I'm looking at this, and he says, Michael, I think you might have bipolar disorder just from what your parents have told me and what you've told me. And here's all the traits. And so I'm looking at the traits, and I'm like, well, I got that. I got that. So I basically was like, well, I definitely have this. Like, there's no, unless you want to be in denial, there's no way that you don't have it. I mean, so my challenge at the very beginning of that was, I had some success in college and some success in amateur golf. And I was worried that if I started taking medication, it would affect my short game. It would affect my putting, or
anything.
Yeah, it would affect how I would play on the last 9 holes of a tournament, right? So even though my parents did the right thing by getting me the proper diagnosis and put me in touch with this doctor, and he prescribed lithium, which is actually what the drug I take now. But for the first 5 years from that I had the diagnosis, from 01 to 05, I just didn't take the medicine consistently. Some days I would take the full amount. If I played poorly, I wouldn't take the full amount the next day. If I played good, I would take the same amount that I took the day before. I based everything on how I played golf, which was terrible, because in retrospect, and what I've learned about the disorder and the medication, taking the medication, the right amount of a medication each day would have helped me more, because it would have given me more consistency in my brain chemistry. And, golf, as you know, Jay, is so up and down that really would have benefited me. But I was afraid, because I had success when I was younger, and I didn't want to gamble with changing, how I did things. So then I had all these, wild things happen to me from 01 to 05, or 01 to 06, I should say. And then I had a group of friends of mine in 06 come to me and say, Michael, listen, we want to be in your life. We want you in our life. But if you don't start taking your medicine consistently, we can't be in your life. We're out. And so that actually got my attention more than even my family saying it to me, because for some reason, people that have bipolar, when their family gets involved, I don't know, it's like a block. You don't want to listen, right? But when your friends say it, or at least for me, my friends kind of almost threatening me, it shook me a little bit. And then from 06 on, I was much better about taking my medicine. I still had some episodes that popped up after that, but that was mostly due to probably drinking too much or just not getting enough sleep. But I had some friends of mine that knew my story, and they encouraged me to write my book, which is what kind of started our foundation, the start of Birdies for Bipolar. The book's called Birdies, Bogeys, and Bipolar Disorder. And thanks to Jay and Joe Buck, David Faraday was nice enough to write the foreword for the book, which he was just, if there was ever a perfect fit for that foreword, he is the guy, because, I've done some broadcasting, I played golf, and I have bipolar, and Faraday has the same things in his life. And I have to tell the story about how he told me he was going to do it, which is hilarious. So now I want to be clear. Jay Delsing really helped stay on Faraday to keep doing it. But the original start of it was, I saw Joe Buck out one night in Clayton when I had just started writing the book. I was probably a third of the way into the writing, and Joe says, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you playing? How you playing?" And I said, "I'm not playing right now. I'm writing this book." He's like, "What are you writing a book about?" And I said, "I'm writing a book about my life playing competitive golf while living with bipolar." And he said, "You have bipolar?" I said, "Yeah, I actually have it kind of bad." And he goes, "Well, I never would have known that." I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, man." I'm like, "If you haven't seen me in a weird place, you wouldn't have known anyway." And his first thing he said after that was, "Do you need any help?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I need to get somebody famous, quote unquote, to write the foreword. And I really want to get David Feherty because of his background and all the same things that I have background in." And this is at 11 o'clock at a bar in Clayton. So I don't think this is ever going to come to fruition whatsoever. So Joe says, "Well, he's a friend of mine. Let me get back to you. I'm going to talk to him." And I was like, "All right, Joe, thanks, but whatever." I don't know if Joe's been at this bar for a long time, whatever. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I'm playing Belle Rive with some buddies, and we're carrying our own bags, and we hit our tee shots on 14. And, I pick up my bag and I pull my phone out like we always do to check our phones while we're going to the next shot. And there's an email, and it says, "Hey, Mike, that D-bag Joe Buck just called us out for being bipolar. Here's my contact information, David Feherty." So then David came to St. Louis not long after that, and he did a talk at St. Albans, and he couldn't have been better. And he said, "Look, just when you finish the writing, send me the book. I want to read it." And then I sent it to him, and he, sure enough, a man of his word, and I think Jay Delsing helped quite a bit with this, just kind of staying on Feherty. But he wrote the foreword in an email, and I sent that to the publisher, and that's what sits in the book at the very beginning of the book. And it's funny, it's accurate, it's smart, it's perfectly worded for what people need to know about, in just a couple pages about bipolar disorder.
We had David come to St. Louis when I was with St. Albans, and he would do we do these champions dinners, and he sat up there and talked, and I basically said, "We got to go home."
He's amazing.
He just kept going. It was like
So
just
funny.
wound him up and pointed him, and he just kept going and going. And he just needs a couple of reminders. And really, it's his wife, Anita. She's the rock. And so we know how to, whenever we're trying to get David on the show, I text him, but I call Anita.
Right.
That's how she
And
goes.
he was, to be fair though, when I reached out to him, he was good about it. Like I just knew that he had a lot going on with both his job and off the golf course. But you know what, man? He said he would do it, and he did it. And I'll tell you what, it really helped me finish the writing, because I had already done almost half of it. But when he said he was going to do it, it made me step up and get it done.
How about the foundation?
Yeah, the foundation's been it's been interesting. I didn't really know where it was going to go. I just knew we needed to start something. I had my good friend Ryan Pennington, who's a St. Louis guy, went to DeSmet, and he's in commercial real estate here in St. Louis. But he just encouraged me. He's like, "Yeah, all right, you got the book now. You need to start doing some golf fundraisers, and we need to figure out, what we're going to do." And one of the things that happened organically that I'm really proud of, actually, and it kind of ties into some things that are going on in St. Louis golf, is when we had our first fundraiser at Gateway National in the summer of 2013, both of my grandfathers were in the Navy. So I called down to the VA hospital and I said, "Hey, do you have any veterans that play golf?" And they were like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you can send me 3 foursomes. Send me 12 guys. They don't have to pay. Just, we want them there. We want their presence there." And they sent us 2 groups. And one of the gentlemen that came with him that day is this phenomenal man named Herman Lugie. Herman was the recreational therapy director at the VA hospital for 36 years. Okay. He shows up with these 8 veterans. He's like hosting them, or he's like their moderator, if you will. He says, "Mike, next week we're going to start playing golf at Arlington Greens in Granite City on Thursdays. Would you come and play?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, when I'm in town, I'm there." And at that point, I wasn't caddying at all. So I was there a lot. So for the first 2 or 3 years, I would go to Arlington Greens on Thursdays, and we'd get 6 guys, maybe we get 8 guys. The most we ever got was maybe 10. We do 3 threesomes or 3 foursomes, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, 4 years ago, Herman calls me and says, "Hey, we're averaging 79 and a half veterans every Thursday. Right?
That's unbelievable.
It was shocking. I did, because I had started caddying more, so I was traveling more, so I wasn't there. So when I would show up, I was playing, but I didn't realize like how many guys, because I would play and then hang out for a little bit, but I didn't know how many people we had going. So when he told me that 2 years ago, I thought, you know what we have to do is we have to find a way for these guys to play golf in the winter, because they have all this momentum from, let's say, mid-April to Halloween, and they all look forward to it. I mean, they have tee times that last for 2.5 hours a day. They have a champions breakfast. They throw in $5 for gambling. They have a point system. Like, it's a big deal. They all look forward to it, but it stops from, beginning of November all the way till let's say the middle of April. So I had the idea, we wanted to build an indoor golf simulator building, and we looked at putting it at courses on the east side. We looked at maybe putting it at Gateway, but we're going to end up putting it at Normandie at the new project that the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association is doing in conjunction with Jack Nicklaus, and we're going to name the building after Scotty Wirtz, who was a fallen Navy SEAL from St. Louis. Yep. He's a North County guy. Yep. Ironically, his dad grew up playing at Normandie.
Wow.
And all their buddies, which was really a cool deal. So yeah, I think from what I understand, the golf course may be ready by next July. Is that what you're hearing?
We're hoping. When Jack was in town a couple of weeks ago, he told us.
Even earlier, they were saying.
Yeah, he told us that they've already got, 5 greens, I think.
Awesome.
Completely seeded and rolling. So have you been there recently?
I haven't been. I've had people send me photos.
Oh, it's spectacular. Folks, if you haven't been able to, if you get a chance to drive by there, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is we're going to have the building on the back of the driving range. The building is going to also double as like the halfway house, so you can go in there and get a hot dog or a beer, and then we'll continue our league there on Thursdays and maybe one other day a week, hopefully. But I just think this whole project is going to be the biggest thing to hit St. Louis golf in 25 years. I can't think of, maybe when Gateway National came out was the biggest.
Absolutely.
Since then.
This has got to make you feel great, though. The foundation, the book, and I'm sure you get response daily, weekly, monthly of people that you're helping out.
Yeah, the book, I wasn't sure how everything would all go, but I even got a text yesterday. I get, it's random, but I'll get texts and emails and calls about, hey, my stepdaughter has bipolar. Can you help her? My ex-wife has bipolar. My uncle has bipolar. And, I always try to listen to people's situations. And I made a lot of mistakes getting healthy, but I think that helped me figure out what are the things that work, whether it's, being real focused on gratitude and keeping a gratitude journal, or getting enough sleep, or, not putting alcohol in your body, eating right. There's a lot, and certainly taking the medication. I take medicine every day, even though those first 5 years I wasn't sure. I'm sure now that I need to take it every day. And I'm lucky. I have an unbelievable support system, whether it's my family or my friends within golf or outside of golf that have kept an eye on me when I wasn't right. I haven't had an episode in almost 7 years, which for me that's a record. Because for a long time there, I was having them like once a year, two every, year and a half. It was kind of dicey there, but the book has helped out more people than I ever thought it would. The foundation has created this relationship with the veterans that I think is really cool, because golf is the real catalyst. Golf puts those guys together. Golf lets
it's the uniter.
Totally. All the Marines get in there and they mess with the Army guys, and the Army guys mess with the Air Force guys. And golf is just like it creates the meeting, right?
Yeah.
And that's how powerful the game is. And to be able to be involved now with the situation with the Metropolitan and also Nicklaus, and to be able to put Scotty Wirtz's name on it, like, to me, that's really cool, because, that guy was in Syria. He was literally hunting ISIS, and to give him a tip of the cap with his name on the building, and knowing that his dad and all of his dad's buddies grew up in that neighborhood playing that golf course, that's really neat.
When we talk about golf being a societal powerhouse, Michael, because of the money it raised, the good it does, it's far out kicks the coverage of any other the major sports combined, and it's special. When I want to just lastly touch for the folks, one of the things that I'm so proud of you for, that you encourage me every time I see you, is how open you are about this.
Yeah.
About you have, and I feel like there's so many folks out there that are either embarrassed or afraid or whatever it is. And so give them some sort of either a clue or an indicator or something to do that can kind of help them get over the hump. Because Michael, if Danny falls and breaks his elbow, or I sprain my ankle and have my foot in a boot, we all know, oh, Danny, what'd you do to your, we all know that we're hurt, but you walk around with this thing. You didn't do anything wrong to get it. It's just part of being human. Yeah. But then there's stigmatisms that go with them and all this other junk that we got to get over.
Yeah, I think I was lucky from a young age to not just with bipolar disorder, but just in general, not to care too much what other people think of you unless they're people that are important to you. And that's what woke me up. When I had people that were really important to me, whether it was family or friends, shaking me, saying, hey, you're not taking your medicine, you're not right. Because it was very much a blind spot for me. I couldn't tell when I was in the middle of a manic episode, right? Because it feels good. You almost feel invincible, like you can do no wrong. You don't need sleep, I got to give a lot of credit to my mom. My mom, when I was diagnosed, she told our whole family, hey, we are going to talk about this. We're not going to sweep it under the rug. We're not going to act like it's not happening. But the other thing people need to realize is everybody has something. Everybody. I don't care.
Some of us have more than one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has something going on. I mean, so if you're arrogant enough to think that you are the one person that is totally perfect, well, that's on you. I mean, I don't care what it is, whether it's a mental illness, substance abuse, addiction, whatever. Like, so everybody has something going on, and like, there's safety in numbers, man. You can, my brother, God love him, he got sober 3 or 4 years ago, started going to AA meetings. Now, I didn't stop drinking. I stopped drinking 15 years ago. I never went to a meeting, but I respect the fact that that program, helps people. And, I just know from my own situation, my brother's situation, like, everybody's dealing with something, and it's easier to deal with when you can bounce ideas off of people. Don't be afraid to talk to people that have been in these situations and say, hey, how did you do this? Did this work? What didn't work? What didn't work for you what did you learn that was bad that you would never do again? So,
what's the best way to get a hold of you or to read the book, be a part of the organization? How do they get a hold of you?
The book is on Amazon.
The Cartel.
Yeah, right. Birdies, Bogies, and Bipolar Disorder. You can get it on Amazon. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, if you're having trouble with someone in your family or yourself that has bipolar disorder, you can just text me or call me. My number is 314-313-2522. Our mutual friend Justin Boyd runs our website for Birdies for Bipolar.org, I believe it is. So you can take a look at that stuff. We should have some stuff updated. Actually, when I leave here, I'm going to meet him, and we were putting together a video for the project at Normandie with Mr. Nicholas talking in there and the building that we're going to create. So
make sure you kick him for Danny.
I definitely will.
JB is a good man.
One of the best.
Yes, sir.
He was one of the great people I found in radio. And there's a lot of them, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, and I try to answer any inquiry I get about trying to help people with bipolar, because it can be complicated, but at the same time, all the things that you need to battle bipolar are fundamental things. So it's not, even though it can seem complicated and seem complex, if you get, a handful of fundamentals in place, you can live a regular life just like anybody else.
Yeah.
You really can.
Wonderful.
Birdies for Bipolar.org, and that's birdies with the number 4 bipolar.org.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for coming
Danny,
in.
Jake.
Thanks for sharing your
So
story.
great, man.
Appreciate you, fellas.
Keep doing your thing.
Michael Wellington, and this is Golf with Jay Delsing.